friends, happy Friday to you. I hope you're having a good one. Hey Eric, how's it going? Oh, I've got a fun show today, guys. I'm really excited to show you guys everything that I have. I'm in the Valentine's mood. I've got pink beads, I've got red beads, I've got hearts, and I have a deal of the week that you don't want to miss out on, as well as a seed bead sale that is going on that you definitely want to take advantage of, because guys, those are some stash essentials. And if you don't believe me, we're going to talk about it a little bit today. If I've not convinced you that seed beads are an essential, you can see me outside after this is over. I'm just kidding. Hi, Sharon. How are you? Hey, Michelle. Excuse me. Hey, Susie. How are you? Hope you're having a good one. Andrea is in the house. Awesome. It looks like we've got a full house. It's going to be a fun show today for sure, guys. And as I mentioned, I've got a lot of great things to show you guys. I'm really excited to show you this necklace project. And I'm using gold today. I don't know if you guys have noticed or not, but I'm in my gold era lately. Been wearing lots of gold. My daughter is all about gold right now, so I'm using some gold. And I find that lots of people are intimidated when it comes to using gold. So I've also included silver findings and silver items in today's show as well, for those of you who are not quite on the gold train yet. But I'm hoping that I will convince you of two things today. One, that gold is not scary, and two, that seed beads are essential. So that's the plan. That's the plan. We're talking about Valentine's Day, or as I like to say, Gal-entine Day, because you don't want to leave out your bestie for Valentine's Day, right? Got to take care of your friends. So that's what today's show is all about. And we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and turn you guys around. We're going to talk about this deal of the week. And while we are getting ready to do that, I mention to all of you that for those of you who are new to the show, maybe this is your first time joining us. Hold on, guys. Oh, my cord is in the way. If this is your first time joining us, you're going to notice that on the side of your screen, there's a shopping bag. You can click on that shopping bag at any point during today's show, and it's going to show you, excuse me, all of the items that are in the show, which is really helpful because a lot of times I'll show you guys like what I think are the most important things in the show, but sometimes I leave out the little things like the jump rings or the head pins or the eye pins, and those things are always included. And if you'll click on that shopping bag, you're going to be able to see all of those items, as well as all of the things that I am showing you and kind of pointing out for you. So just keep that in mind. Also, if you are joining us from Facebook, be sure that while you're on Facebook, you are also taking advantage of our Facebook group. That is Serious Art Beaters. Come hang out, let the conversation carry on over to our Facebook group once the party has ended here during the live. All right, now I'm starting out with the deal of the week. This has been going on for the entire week, but some of you may not have seen this yet. Let me raise you up just a little bit. Guys, the deal of the week, during the holidays, we were doing a deal of the day. Now we're doing a deal of the week, which I kind of love because it means that all of us designers get an opportunity to have our hands on these items. And this one is so nice. If you don't want to make a piece of jewelry for your bestie for Valentine's or Gal-entine's Day, this would make a great gift for anyone who crochets or is interested in learning how to crochet. The deal of the week is our tulip crochet hook set. This has 13 pieces total. And I'm going to open this up for you. So it comes with this really awesome little case here, but look at all the things that are in here when I open this up. So you can see there are, what is that? 8, look at me mathing on a Friday afternoon. There are 8 crochet hooks in a lot of different sizes here, and they're so grippy. They're really nice. I like these a whole lot more than just the solid metal ones. I love that these have the handle on them. They come in a bunch of different sizes here. Have the little flap that you can put over the top of them to keep them safe. This comes with some high-grade scissors, which if you're like me, I dare anyone in my family to use my beading scissors for cutting paper or plastic. That is surefire way to end up sleeping on the porch. It also comes with a little zipper pouch here. And on the side, you have 2 yarn needles and a ruler. I'm going to take these out of here so you can see them. So you've got yourself a nice little ruler here. I love the ruler. It's not too big. It's not super heavy, so it's not going to add any additional weight to this. It is really nice. You can grab this anytime you need to make any little measurements. And you also get the needles. The needles are yarn needles, so they have a nice large eye on them, and they come in 2 different sizes. So why on earth would someone who is interested in making jewelry want a set of crochet hooks? Well, here's the thing. Crochet and just fiber crafts in general are second in their, I wouldn't call them second, but they work hand in hand with beads and beading and all of that thing, because they're kind of mixable, right? You can mix these things with your jewelry making items. You can crochet beautiful pieces of jewelry beautiful pieces and then add beads to them. You can crochet with wire. You can crochet beautiful long chains with beautiful fabrics and then hang amazing pendants from them. So they really kind of, crocheting and jewelry making really go hand in hand with each other. And this is a really, really nice set. So if you are looking to get this for somebody or maybe for yourself, this would be a really, really nice little gift. I definitely see this as a nice little gift for yourself. You can set this in your bag. I love it. It's not super heavy. You can just throw it in your travel bag, take it anywhere you want to go with you. And I think the very best part of this is that because it's the deal of the week, the price on this one is incredible. So this is regularly priced, you guys, $101.29. That's a lot, but you're paying for that tulip brand and the tulip quality. Like, this is high quality. But right now, because this is the deal of the week, it is $54.50. Do the math on that one. Like, that's insane. So just wanted to be sure that everybody got a chance to take a look at this deal of the week, and be sure that you're checking back every week on artbeads.com to see what the new deal of the week is. And while you're there, be sure you're signing up for that newsletter and for text notifications for the lives, so that you can stay up to date with all things art beads related. All right, now this isn't the only thing we've got going on right now. We also have seed beads up to 30% off, guys. These are stash essentials, and I'm gonna convince you of that. Maybe try some new colors if you're already a seed bead lover. But I've got some really pretty ones in today's show that I'm gonna show off to you. I picked out 4 that I thought were very appropriate for anything Valentine's or Gal-entine's Day related. So I have some size 11s. This beautiful pink color. These are cotton candy pink. What a great name for these. They're so pretty. Really, really like that. Those are really pretty, guys. Seed beads are great. If you're a seed beader, you know the joys of seed beads, right? You know all of the fun things that you can do with seed beads. But if you're not a seed beader, seed beads are great as spacer beads. They make a wonderful little accent. You can do an entire necklace and use your seed beads to create length. Look at this, instant gratification. We just strung up some beautiful seed beads. I have these pearls in the show. I'm going to show you these hearts as well. But I love it because it gives some color, and I still have a ton of beads left over, right? One little bead can go a really long way. These tubes are going to last you for a while. So I have these in the cotton candy pink. I have these that I used on this necklace right here. These are also a size 11. These are the Perma Finish Galvanized Orchid. This is a gorgeous color. This is like a rose color. So pretty. Susie says crocheting is so much easier than knitting, in her opinion. I love that. I love that. I'm not very good at crocheting, but since I have one of these tulip kits now, I think I've made it my goal to kind of like do better. You know what I mean? Well, that's my goal for everything for 2025, but I'm going to do better at crocheting this year for sure. See if I can actually make like a scarf or something, or at least a beautiful strand of crocheted yarn that I can hang a pendant from, because I think that's probably more me. All right, then I have this awesome hot pink color here. Oh, and it is hot pink indeed. That's one of my favorite colors of all time right there. Absolutely beautiful. And then last but not least, at least for my show, I have included a gold color here. This is a Perma Finish Galvanized Starlight. And it is just a really pretty gold color. It's not too yellow and it's not too brassy either. It's a nice in between. I think this is going to be a beautiful spacer bead. I'm going to show you what I've done with it. It is really, really nice. So I love to use seed beads as spacer beads, which of course is why I picked this one right here, but any of the colors would work as well. And if you're curious, take some time to look at the artbeads.com website and look at all of the colors, the sizes, and the styles of seed beads that are available. Take advantage of that 30% off. Throw some into your cart. Even if you're not a seed bead person, just take my word for it. Throw some into your cart, grab that deal of the week, and anything over $49 is going to ship for free. So if you add this guy right here to your cart, anything else that you add to your cart is also going to ship free. So take advantage of all of the deals that we've got going on for sure. Okay, so not only do I have beautiful seed beads here, but I also have some other Valentine Day inspired things. I've got some gorgeous pearls that I'm going to be using as well as this awesome pendant. So let's talk about the pendant first, because you guys know I love Gardan so much. So I have this Gardan white heart on red enameled brass. I cannot think of a more perfect pendant for Valentine's Day. So pretty. So pretty. Marianne said, I'm assuming there are larger sizes in these colors like 8s and 6s. You bet you. I don't know if they're exactly, but there most definitely are tons of different sizes in colors that are probably exact or nearly exact. You're not going to have any trouble. We have a ton of seed beads for sure. All right, so as I was saying, I don't know if you guys remember back at Bead Fest, I got to hang with Anne from Gardan Beads, and she is awesome, and her artwork is just incredible. So I was really excited to get to add this to my show today. I also have some beautiful pearls that we have that you can use in a lot of different ways. These are some Prestige 6mm round crystal pearl white. And they're really pretty. So these are not that cream color. These are more on the white side. I know some people like one better than the other. If you do like the more cream color though, definitely check out the website, because there are some of these in a lot of different colors. And the more creamy ones, I think we used last week when we were doing purse charms and things. So really pretty. Look how pretty they go together. Love that. It's so pretty. It just screams Valentine's Day. All right, now, if you want some more hearts, I got you covered. So I have some really beautiful, these little glass hearts in ruby. These are check glass. Again, I can't think of anything more perfect. Even this color is perfect. Absolutely beautiful. Use these as some little dangles, make some cute little earrings out of these. Love those. Now, if that is not your style, how about a crystal instead? That's absolutely stunning as well. So this is a Prestige love bead. This one's a 12mm in that crystal AB. So pretty. And you can see this one's drilled through the centers. You got to check that when it comes to Prestige or just crystal hearts in general, maybe not just limited to Prestige, but you always got to be kind of careful about the drill on them, because sometimes they're drilled side to side. This one is drilled up and down, which makes it really easy to work with. As you can see, I used this in this project right here, just a really simple seed bead necklace. We were talking about the seed beads. I used some of those beautiful gold seed beads in between there. And then I have hung one of these hearts as a pendant, and you can see that drill hole going straight up and down. I don't know, something about that just makes this perfect. But if you didn't want to use the crystal, I feel like you could use this guy instead and it would still be amazing. So I feel like there's a heart for everybody here for sure. But I do love the drill hole because it makes these really easy to incorporate into your jewelry designs. All right, now, feeling like I need to show you some more hearts, because that's what Valentine's Day is all about. Now, you guys may recognize this. I had this in last week's show when I was making purse charms. I used this with some chain and some pearls to create a multi-strand design to drape across the front of the purse. But I wanted to bring this into today's show as well, because I didn't want to limit this. I didn't want you guys to always just kind of associate when you see this with that project in particular, because you can use this as a necklace project. Of course, that's what it's for. You could even use this as a bracelet if you wanted to. It has that curve to it, which I don't know, it might bother you as a bracelet. I think this was really more geared towards necklaces, but I love the open hearts here because you can hang dangles from these, which is, as you know, one of my very favorite things to do. So, yep. All right, now to add to that, a little more sparkle, a couple of other little things here to show you guys, and then we're gonna take a look at some ways to use these things. So I have some drops because you can never go wrong with drops, and these are in a gorgeous deep red color. So these are Prestige 5500 beads, which are just the teardrops. I'll get those up close and personal for you guys. It's a really deep red. If I could hold it in a way that you could see the light shining through, that would be great. See how deep that red is and the facets on that. Absolutely beautiful. You only need a couple of these to really make a statement with a necklace, but I love a good teardrop bead. And again, paying attention to the drill hole on these are drilled top to bottom, so you don't have to worry about any kind of crazy wire wrapping or anything like that. You're just going to stick these onto a head pin or string them onto your stringing materials, and you're going to have a nice little drop, and you don't have to overthink it, right? You don't have to overcomplicate it. You can just string these up, which is really nice. Now, if pink is more your thing, if you're not much of a red person and you're more into the pink, I've got some pink sparkle that I know you're going to love. So this is some Prestige 6mm bicones in fuchsia. I love this color. This is one of those colors that, depending on what you mix it with, is really going to show you two different things, right? If you mix this with your darker colors, you're going to get more of a purple vibe with this. But if you mix this with your brighter colors, like your brighter pinks, this is going to pull more pink. So it really kind of depends on what you're going to mix this with, and you're going to get some really different results. Either way, if you want to take it to the pink or you want to take it to the purple, I think it's an absolutely beautiful bead, and it's going to give you a lot of really beautiful sparkle. I wanted to pair this with something else that I thought was really pretty that I love that we have on the website, and I'm going to just show you one of these, the one that I have in the show, but I want to remind you that on the website there are a ton of these in different excuse me, in different colors and different sizes. And these are our limited edition beads with the flowers, these check glass beads. I've picked these out because I feel like they matched these bicones perfectly. Look how pretty that is. So these guys, I believe this is an 8mm bead. I would tell you, but I don't know where my gauge is at the moment. I'm pretty sure that's an 8mm bead right there. It might be a 10, but they're so pretty. So pretty. Santa Barbara girl, we're glad you're here. You're right on time. I'm just showing off all the pretty things that I have stocked up in the show today that you can use or not use, mix and match. I think everything kind of works together really well. I'm one of those people who likes to mix my reds and my pinks together, so that's why we've got a little bit of everything in today's show. But look at the little flower on that. I thought that was so pretty. So there are a lot of different sizes and colors of these limited edition flower beads available on the website. But again, I picked this one because I thought it paired really nicely with the seed beads that we have. It look really pretty with the bicones that we have. You can even mix this with the gold if you wanted to. Like, that's inspiring all in itself. And I don't even have a finished piece of jewelry to show off yet, but I know what a piece would look like for sure. So all right, now, gentle reminder to all of you, I mentioned this at the top of the show, but you can click on that shopping bag at any point during today's show to get the information about all the items that I just showed you, plus items that I don't really talk a whole lot about, and that would be our findings. So we've got head pins and eye pins and jump rings. I have some beautiful chain in the show today. Also have crimps and tools and all of the things that I'm going to be using. If my hands are touching it, it's included in the show today. So just because I don't talk about it doesn't mean that you can't grab it up, add it to your cart, and check out all while watching the show today. You don't have to navigate away, which is really nice. You can do all of this from the screen, and when you're done, after you've closed out your cart, you can click on me and it'll make me big again. Now let's do some things with all of these beautiful items that I've showed you guys. This chain is gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. So if you're looking for some gold chain, this is a good one. All right, so I put together couple of different things. I know I've already showed this to you, but I wanted to show it to you again for a couple of reasons. Number one, just because it's pretty. Number two, because it's instant gratification jewelry right here. All we did was some stringing. We did a wrapped loop, and that's pretty much it. But look at the seed beads. The seed beads are what really kind of make this piece pop. The seed beads I'm using not only to create the length of this, but it's giving this beautiful wash of color through the entire design. And then I'm also utilizing them as little spacers. So if you're not friends with seed beads yet, make friends with them, because this is a really inexpensive way to space out your beads without having to fork over a ton of money on metal beads. Right? I love metal spacers, but sometimes they can get expensive, particularly if you want to use a whole lot of them. But if you grab one of these things of seed beads, look at how many beads there are here. I don't have to worry that I'm going to run out of those anytime soon. So I like to use those to space out my bigger beads, or just to use them to create really beautiful length here. So this could have been done in any of the colors. Now I like to layer. So I had actually in the teaser picture of today's show, I had layered this on top of another necklace that we're going to be creating right now. So I wanted to use, of course, this gorgeous pendant that I'm obsessed with. So pretty, to create a multi-strand design. And if you'll give me just a second, I'm going to pull my picture up on my phone, because I have a tendency to forget how I actually layer these things together. So I'm going to pull this up, and then I'm going to lay this out for you so you can kind of see where we're going. Unfortunately, I don't have like a full finished piece to show you. But this guy is going to go, this is going to be on our bottom strand. So this is going to be our focal. We're going to use some of these beautiful pearls that I showed you to create a Y style necklace. But instead of just doing one Y drop for this, we're actually going to add 2 extra drapes of chain to create a 3-strand necklace. And then if you want to layer this seed bead piece over the top of it, you can, and it's going to look even more full. So, all right, utilizing my pearls here, I'm going to create one of these sides. One of the sides of this is already ready. I'm sticking with simple things today. Simple loops and jump rings. Okay, so we're using a lot of eye pins. You can see I'm using these drops. I'm using a combination of the beautiful pearls and some of those pink seed beads to create a beaded chain. One side is already ready, and we're going to create the other side. Okay, so we're going to take these pearls. Let's do our drops first, but I am going to show you each one of these has some of those beautiful little seed beads. It's just a little pop of color that could be left out, but why? Why would you? Particularly when we have like this really cool deal going on at the moment, I would take advantage. But you can see how I'm just using these as a little pop of color next to a pearl. Now the pearl can stand alone if it wants to, but I think it looks really pretty with that pop of pink next to it. And I'm doing the same thing with the drops. You can see I'm just using 2 little seed beads just to add an extra little pop of color to these. So, all right. Patricia says she loves the heart pendant. Me too. Me too. Okay, so let's get into it. I'm going to lay these out because some of these I already did, but we're going to do some of them together. Don't want to do all of them together because we do need to save a little bit of time. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 4. We're going to do 2 of these together. Look at me mathing on a Friday. Incredible. Okay, I'm going to take some eye pins. You can cut your own wire if you want to, but I like to keep this simple. So I'm just going to use an eye pin. And actually, I said I was going to do the drops first, and then I got all carried away. I'm not going to do the drops first. I'm going to do the links first. Just kidding. All right, we're going to pick up a seed bead. 1 little seed bead, and then we're going to pick up a pearl. And then we're going to pick up a seed bead, and we're just going to do a simple loop. Okay. All right. Hi, Alma. I'm so glad you're here. So many familiar faces and new faces as well, which is always awesome. Okay, so I'm going to do a simple loop here so you can see I'm grabbing the wire right where it is exiting the bead. Okay, I'm going to hold those beads in my hand. I'm going to take that wire and I'm going to bend it right where it is exiting. So I'm not bending it over the top of the pliers. I'm literally bending it right where it is exiting that seed bead. I'm going to come in with my cutter tool and I'm going to trim. And I'm going to leave myself about 1/4 of an inch of wire. That's all I need. Then I'm going to use my round nose pliers. I'm going to grab that wire and I'm going to roll back, whoops, to close my loop. Okay. And the loops don't have to be perfect. It's okay if they're not perfectly round. I know some of them turn out looking kind of silly. It's fine. As long as it's closed, your seed beads are not sneaking into the loop that you made, and you can open and close this and know that it's not going to come undone, then that is really all that matters. Practice makes perfect with these loops, but I don't want you to stress over it. So you're going to do that with all of your little seed beads. Like I said, you're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're going to do a total of 12 of these, 6 for each side. Let's do one more. And then we're going to link those together with some jump rings. So I'm not going to link these directly to each other. I'm going to use a jump ring in between there. And with each one of those jump rings, the first 3 of those are going to have a drop. All right, so I picked up a seed bead, a pearl, and a seed bead. Hey, Jen, you made it. I'm so glad you're here. All right, and again, grabbing the wire, bending it where it is exiting the bead, coming in with my cutter. We're going to trim. Then we're going to use those round nose pliers, grab the wire, whoops, and we're going to roll back to close our loop. Okay. Now, one thing you'll notice about this is that I'm making sure that my loops are facing the same direction. Sometimes it matters and sometimes it doesn't. This is one of those designs where I definitely want my loops on either side to be going the same direction. So if that comes up, if that's a question when you're recreating this later, if you're watching this on replay, because you guys know you can watch this on replay anytime you want to. After the live is over, you can come back, you can fast forward and get right to the techniques that you need. If that question comes up, you want your loops to go in the same direction. Okay, so you're going to do 6 of those per side for your necklace, and then we're going to make some drops. And as I have shown you already, the drops are the drop and 2 seed beads on a head pin. So let's do that real quick. So we're just going to thread one of the drops on and 2 seed beads. The 2 seed beads are there for an extra pop of color. I do love the combination of the red. Janice, I'm going to talk you through that here in just a second. That is a great point. I love the combination of this pink with this dark red, but it also serves as a little bit of distance, right? It's going to give me just a little more length in my drop. So the more seed beads you add, obviously the longer the drop is going to be. If you wanted to make these really long and then kind of taper them up, you could do like your last one, the one closest to the middle. You do like 6 seed beads and then go 1 seed bead less, and you're really going to create this really cool kind of tiered pattern. Okay, so Janice brought up this point. She said, I'm always concerned that I'm going to cut too short. I'll show you my kind of rule for this, which doesn't work for everybody, except it does help kind of create some muscle memory here. So let me show you. I'm going to hold on to my beads, right? And I'm going to go ahead and bend the wire. Now, when it comes to measuring, I use my finger. Now, not everybody's fingers are going to be the same width, right? Everybody's fingers are going to be a little bit different. Some people are going to have some skinnier fingers. Some of them are going to be a little bit wider. But for me, my finger is about 1/4 of an inch from this side to this side, right? So I look at it, and even if your finger is not 1/4 of an inch across, look at where that wire is going to fall, where it is 1/4 of an inch. And maybe in the beginning you have to use your ruler, right? Come in and kind of get an idea. All right, mine's actually a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch, depending on where I've got it on my finger. But I use my finger as my ruler. And if you do that over and over and over again, you get to the point where you're just kind of looking at it and you know where that's going to fall on your finger and it's going to be right. So kind of use your finger as your guide there, right? So there it looks to be about 1/4 of an inch, and I'm going to trim. Sometimes I over trim, sometimes I don't. It just really kind of depends, but I can get pretty close every time by using my finger as my guide. All right, and then I'm going to roll back to close my loop. And I'm ready to go with that one, just being sure that that loop is closed. Yes, the more you do it, the better and more accurate you get. And listen, it really does come with practice. It's one of those things where you eventually get to the point where you can kind of do it with your eyes closed. But don't be too hard on yourself in the beginning if that's not the case, or if you don't do these very often, right? If you're a seed beater and you do tons of seed bead work, you pick up wire, all of a sudden you're all thumbs, like that's just kind of part of it. So I just don't like to grab a ruler. I eyeball a lot of things, but it's easier for me if I can kind of measure it up against something and my finger is already there. So it makes it a little bit easier. All right, same steps, coming in with my chain nose pliers. Grab the wire, give that a bend, holding that, looking kind of where my finger is. 1/4 of an inch is right about there, and you can see that's right about the distance from one side to the other. And then I'm going to grab and roll back to create my loop. Now, I will tell you this. One of the things that is really going to help improve your loops is going to be your round nose pliers. Not all round nose pliers are created equally. And I realize if you guys have clicked on these, or if you saw me talk about these a little while back, that was a few weeks now, this is a very, I hate to use the word expensive. This is but I mean, I don't really know any other word here. These are expensive. I mean, I'm just going to be completely transparent with you. This is an expensive pair of round nose pliers. However, this has quickly become my very favorite pair of round nose pliers. I 100% feel like you get what you pay for. The reason that I love these is because the tip on these is so tiny. So I can really create a loop that is nearly the same size, if not the exact same size as the one that's already on the eye pin. For me, if the pliers, if the taper on them is not deep enough and the tip of them is not small enough, my loops, one of them will have the little, manufactured loop that's already on there, and the other loop on the other side is huge, right? It's like twice as big. And for me, it always just kind of feels wonky when that happens, and it's really frustrating. This pair of round nose pliers right here, I can get a tiny, tiny loop. And there is only one other pair of pliers that I have, and they have a blue handle, and if you know, you know, but I'm really picky about my round nose, but it definitely makes a difference. Now, I'm not saying you need to get the most expensive pair of round nose pliers you can get and all of a sudden you're going to magically make the best loops. But I do want you to take a look at the tips of your round nose pliers and the ones that you're using, because if that taper is not deep enough, that could be part of your problem. So just want you to know. All right. Everybody's yelling at me. Let's see. What's everybody yelling at me about today? Explain the chomp chomp method. I got you covered. Yep. All right. Explain the chomp chomp method. I can do that. Cindy wanted to know how you keep from crushing the seed beads. Just lots of practice. It's tricky when it comes to working with seed beads because they're little baby beads in there, and I'm telling you, it can be kind of tricky. All right. So let's do the chomp chomp method and let's take a look at the seed beads. Okay. All right. So, and I will definitely remind you anytime, you just let me know. So I don't need another drop because I have the 3 that we need, but we're going to do this again anyway, because this is going to be a really good opportunity to talk about exactly what you guys want to know. Number 1, the seed beads, and number 2, the chomp chomp method. So let's do that right now. So when it comes to bending the wire over seed beads, or another one of those beads that I get a little scared about when I'm bending the wire over the top of it is a bicone, particularly a small bicone. Anything 4 millimeters or under, if I have to bend the wire over the top of it, I get very, very nervous, particularly in lives, because I'm always afraid I'm going to crack them. And seed beads are exactly the same. So when I am going to bend the wire over the top of a seed bead, you may not even be able to tell, but look at where my pliers are. Don't look at the cat hair. Look at the pliers. All right. See how there is just a tiny bit of space? So there's a couple of things that happen when you bend the wire. And when you bend the wire, obviously it's going to bend, but it's also going to create a little bit of stress. And that bend is actually going to take away a little bit of the space. Now, if I'm using a round bead, I don't worry about it nearly as much. But if I'm using a little teeny tiny bead, I've got to give a teeny, like the most microscopic little amount of space right there that I know can absorb the stress of the wire when I bend it, and it not take it out on the bead. So there's just the tiniest little amount of space. And this again is one of those things like when you're measuring with your finger. The more you do it, the more you just kind of get used to. Anytime you pick up a seed bead or a little bead, you know instinctually that you're going to need to put your pliers up just a tiny bit, because that bend is going to take up some room and it's really going to stress out those beads. So now we're going to do the chomp chomp method. And the chomp chomp method is what I have used forever because I am not coordinated enough. You guys know, a lot of times I am all butterfingers in the mouth and in the hands. Like, I don't know how they let me do this job, quite honestly, but they do somehow. But I am not very gentle or graceful with things. So I can't bend this in one smooth motion. In fact, just for fun, let's try that. You want to? Let's use a round bead so we don't crack anything. But I can't do this in one smooth movement. I am always in awe of people who can, who hold their bead and they're just like, boom, and they bend it over and it's perfect. But what happens with mine is they always get this funny little bend in them. This one I did pretty good. I'm actually kind of proud of that. But a lot of times what happens is I get this little divot or this little dent in the wire when I try to do it in one smooth motion, and it just does not look good. So then when I go to make my loop, it has this really odd shape to it. So to keep from doing that, I don't do that. I do the chomp chomp. And the chomp chomp is like the little microscopic amount of space that's between my bead and the top of my, or the edge of my pliers. I do the same kind of microscopic thing here. I hold the beads and then I chomp, 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 chomp. See how my hand is opening and closing the pliers? As I'm opening and closing the pliers, that's what's making the bend in the wire. So I don't have to do it in one smooth movement and I get a better bend out of it. And then I come in with my cutter, use my finger to measure, and I do the same thing with the loop. So some people can roll back in just one smooth movement and make a perfect loop. I cannot do that. So I use the same kind of microscopic movements, I guess. They're not microscopic. It's clear you can see them. But I mean, I'm using these really small little movements to make that loop instead of one smooth movement that's going to give me more of like an egg shape or a teardrop shape. I do little rocking motions and I readjust my pliers as well. So you can see how I kind of move up or down the wire as I'm making my loop. And I'm not doing it in one smooth movement. I'm literally rocking those pliers towards me. Makes a huge difference. And it kind of takes the pressure off of me where I don't have to feel like it has to be this perfect swan-like. Listen, I'm not a swan, okay? I'm just not. I am a regular girl and I make big time mistakes and my loops are quite often quite ugly. But to get the best loop possible for me, I have to do it in small movements instead of just one smooth. Let's do one more and then we're going to move on and put this necklace together. It's actually not going to take very long to put this together. So one more for good measure, right? Add on a drop, Let's add a seed bead to the top of that. I love that. Gina says, this tip is one of the top tips from Sara that has really helped. I'm really glad to hear that, because I feel like a lot of people are so intimidated by things because they think they have to do it a certain way. And that's not always true. I am a born rule breaker. So whatever works for you, chomp, 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 right? You got to see my hand moving. That's why I moved that out of the way so you can see how I bend the wire. And then I'm going to come in with my cutter, trim, and then I'm going to use my round nose pliers and I'm going to rock that loop into place. And if I need to adjust a little bit, I can do that, right? Use every bit of the tool. Just because you want your loop to be a 2mm loop doesn't mean that you don't need to use that more 3 and 4mm section to help create that good curve in your wire, and then move it back down to the smaller end of the pliers to get it to close. That's why I really love the pliers that have that real deep taper to them. That's why these are so good, because I got to utilize all that space. And if for some reason the taper is really thick and wide, I don't have a lot of wiggle room in there to really make sure that my loops are the right size. So I hope that helps you guys. I really, really do. And I appreciate those kinds of questions, because those little things, though they may seem trivial at the end of the day, they're not. These little things are what is literally holding your jewelry together. So great questions. All right. Yes, except for smushing crimps. Never smush a crimp. Never smush a crimp. I will not break that rule. All right, so now let's put this together. Actually, we need to do, let's go ahead and get our pendant together too, because we're going to kind of connect all of this all at the same time. So for our pendant, we are going to use a jump ring, and we're going to use 2 of the pearls here. So I'm going to take another eye pin. Let's go ahead and add our jump ring to this pendant first. It'll definitely help. So I'm going to take my jump ring, whoops, between 2 pairs of pliers here. Twist open. I'm going to thread that on. And then before I close that, I'm going to go ahead and add my eye pin to it. And then I'm going to close that back. Make sure you get a good closure on that. Okay. Hi, Mary. All right. Hi, Rosemary. All right, picking up a seed bead. Now, I've used up all my seed beads doing other things, so we're going to pour out a couple more. Well, that was more than a couple, but that's okay. It's okay. It's all right. I got a bead scoop for that. From now on, every time I add seed beads to the show, I need to be adding a bead scoop, because that's definitely a lifesaver. It definitely keeps me from throwing seed beads across the room. Seed beads and I definitely have a love-hate relationship, even though I'm waxing poetic on them today. All right. They're necessary, but they make me stabby, because they want to commingle with each other, and then they want to fall on the floor, and it's a whole thing. I'm going to thread on a pearl while I'm talking. And then I'm going to put 2 seed beads in between here. Remember, we are using these seed beads for more than just the color. We're also creating length with them, which is nice. Okay, then we're going to do another pearl. And I'm going to put 1 more seed bead on the top of that, and then we're going to do a simple loop. So you guys will get to see me do 1 more simple loop. If I can get this pearl on. But the vacuum needs food. The vacuum definitely gets lots of food in this room, that's for sure. Wire scraps and seed beads, all the things. All right, now I'm going to do a simple loop on this one. Now the difference here, I told you earlier that your loops, your simple loops need to be going the same direction. Not for this one. So for this one, you can see that simple loop on the bottom is facing towards us. The one on the top needs to be facing away from us, because it's going to attach to a jump ring. So in order for this to hang the correct direction, this is the one exception to that rule in this project. Okay. So again, grabbing, okay, holding, chomp, 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 chomp to bend the wire. And then we're going to come in with our cutter tool Use the finger to measure. And then we're going to use our round nose pliers to grab that wire and roll back to close our loop. And I don't know if you noticed, but I used this entire section here to create that one loop just by kind of repositioning it on my pliers. Okay. All right, now let's put this together, shall we? We're just going to use some jump rings to connect all of this. All right, first jump ring is going to go onto our pendant. So we're going to take this between two pairs of pliers, open that up, go ahead and hook our pendant on. And then I'm going to go ahead and attach one whole side. This side is already ready. Hold on. Okay, well. Okay, so you can see each one of these is linked together with a jump ring. 3 of them have a drop. The other 2 do not. We're going to do that with the other side. Before we close this jump ring though, let's go ahead and get started with this side. So we're going to thread on one of our pearl links. And we're going to close that back. Okay. Now I'm going to do a lot of picking up and putting down here. So I'm going to pick up jump ring. And I'm going to attach that right there. Before I add my next pearl link, I'm going to add one of my drops. Now, if you can do this with this all laying on the bead mat, that's great, instead of picking it up and putting it down. But the main goal here is to make sure that all your drops are on the same sides of the jump rings. Before you close this jump ring, thread on your next pearl and close. Okay. So you can see they're all hanging on the same side. All right, next, we're going to do one more. Open. We're going to attach that to the pearl. Whoops. Or we're not going to. We're just going to keep dropping it. I told you I was going to pick it up and drop it a million times. Pick it up and put it down. All right, thread on the drop. And then thread on the next link. And close that back. Lay it down so that I can see. Double check my work. Another jump ring. Thank you, Cindy. I appreciate that very much. Okay. Drop. And then we're going to thread on our next pearl. And we're going to close that back. Okay, now we need 2 more pearls. These each have the jump rings between them, but they don't have the drops. The drops are all down here in the front. But making sure before we pick this up, one more time, making sure that everything is hanging in the same, on the same side of the jump rings. All right, last 2 are going to go on, and I don't have to worry so much with these because there's not a drop included here. Okay. All right, now if you wanted to do the rest of this necklace with these beaded links, with the pearls and the seed beads, you could. You don't have to use chain for the length of this. I'm using chain just because I like it, and I'm trying to convince you that gold is not scary. And the best way to do that is just to jump in 10 toes, right? So I am going to do 2 extra drapes in this necklace with some chain. However, you don't have to do that part. You can just make this the necklace, bead the rest of it, or use chain for the rest of it and leave it as is. I am extra. Everything I do is extra. That's why I love making jewelry. So I am going to create drapes. So I have cut 2 links of my chain in 2 different links. So I'm not attaching them yet. I'm just laying them up here. Okay. And you can see this is going to create 3 drops in this necklace. I'm going to connect them all with a single jump ring. And on that jump ring, I'm also going to attach the length of this as well. So just going to show you real quick because we're pretty much at the end here. Now at the back of my chain, I've just used more jump rings and a clasp. You can use silver if you prefer. I do want you to get comfortable with gold because it's everywhere, you guys. It really is. It can be kind of intimidating. A lot of times when I make gold jewelry pieces, they do not sell very well. And I think people get a little scared when it comes to gold. Silver stuff sells like crazy, but I think if you make your gold pieces kind of the star of your booth or the star of your website, I think it kind of helps people feel a little bit better. So there's the next drape going onto this jump ring, the shortest drape going onto the jump ring, and then the length section is also going to go onto that jump ring. And I'm going to close that back. That one jump ring's got a really big job. Okay, we're going to do the same thing over here on the other side. Just making sure that you put everything in the right order. So your bottom section needs to go on the jump ring first. On top of that needs to be your next layer, and then your next layer. Don't mix those up because you're going to have a twisted up necklace. And then last but not least is the length for this side, and we're going to close that back. Okay, now I know this doesn't look like much here on the mat. This looks really good hanging, and there's other things you can do here. So let's talk about it real quick before I put this on the bust, because I want to look at the other elements that I had in the show today. This guy right here, if you wanted to mix your metals together, this would be a beautiful addition. Or if you wanted to do this in silver, you absolutely could add this guy in here at some point, right? That could be one of your drapes. Put some chain on the ends. Or you could use these pearls and do some more beaded sections here. So you could have that as one of the drapes. You can take the chain drapes out completely and just use this guy, right? You can also come in and hang from this guy some of these. Why not? This is a really cool way to make multi-strand designs, and I love it because you can just lay different things out and see what works, see what you like. If you love it, great. If you hate it, mix it up, try something else. If you don't like the red hearts, maybe just one of these guys, right? Or put them all together. Like, there's no rhyme or reason. Making jewelry should be fun, and creating layered pieces is always a really good opportunity to be really creative and see what you like. But I do recommend putting it on a bust at the end just to see how gravity takes over, because sometimes things look great on the mat and they don't translate well on the bust when gravity takes over. So we're going to do that right now. We're going to turn around. I'm not going to put this one on, but I am going to put it on the bust so that you can see what it looks like. And then we're going to layer this piece over the top of it. We could have done several of these in a lot of different lengths and different colors to layer with this as well. So all right, let me turn you guys around. All right, this is also a great opportunity. If there are any questions that I missed, if you guys want to chat, or if you'd like to make some requests for future projects, I'm always open to any of that. So now's a great opportunity because I am not being distracted by making jewelry and I'm actually looking at the chat. All right, nobody has to scream Patrick Mahomes at me. That's what they do. My daughter's in here, by the way. She's sitting next to me. She didn't want to be on camera today, but she is sitting next to me. She's actually working with the bead llama kit right now, creating some really beautiful bracelets. All right, hold on. Got everything twisted around here. Put this on this bust.
Sorry.
Some wire went flying. All right, so here's what it looks like hanging. Okay, really, really beautiful. Gina says hello. Wanda says hello. So hello, Ari.
Hello.
All right, so there we go. This is what this one looks like with the chain. Now imagine it without, right? Still a really beautiful piece of jewelry, or you can add more to this. Really pretty, and it definitely looks different on the bust than it does on the mat. You really just don't ever know for sure until you can get it so that it is hanging and everything is hanging in the correct direction. It's also a great opportunity to make sure that everything is hanging again on the correct side of those jump rings and all of that. Now, if we wanted to layer on top of this we can, right? If you wanted to layer in some seed bead pieces, really, really beautiful. There's absolutely nothing wrong with layering up, laying things on top of each other. It doesn't matter if they're not perfectly spaced. You can use some of those gorgeous flower beads that I showed you guys, the limited edition ones, those in place of the pearls if you wanted to add some more color to this, or if you wanted to, instead of the drops, you wanted to use those gorgeous bicones that I showed you in the show today. So anything that I had today, I think could have worked in this piece. So if you don't like this combination particularly, maybe there was something else in the show today that caught your eye that you could still put together a really fun combination with. So Robin said, the extra is exactly why we love you. Thank you. I pride myself on being extra. All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging with me this afternoon. I appreciate you letting me be a part of your beady journey and letting me finish out my weeks with you on Friday afternoons. I love it. And it's so much fun to get to finish the week out this way because we have such a great community. There's so much wonderful chat that happens here, guys. The chat does not have to stop. Head on over to Serious Art Beaters on Facebook and join the Facebook group. You can continue that conversation. You can get inspired from each other, see what other people are doing with all of the beads and goodies that they're getting from artbeads.com. I do want to remind you right before I go though, that we do have 30% up to 30% off on all seed beads. So if there was a seed bead in today's show that you liked, grab it. Try some other colors. They really are stash essentials. It's a great way to create color and to create length. And they're just a fun bead overall, and your vacuum cleaner loves them too. So, you got to keep that guy fed, right? Also, don't forget about that deal of the week, that amazing tulip crochet set that was originally $101.29, which right now is priced at $54.50 for the deal of the week. That is an incredible deal and a wonderful gift for yourself or for anybody who is into crocheting or who would like to learn how to crochet, because it has everything that you need in it. Just a really, really nice set. So be sure you're checking back next week to see what next week's deal of the week is, guys. And as always, you can watch this as a video on demand as many times as you want to. Set your reminders next week. For me, same time, same place next week. And be sure to check out all the other amazing designers here on artbeads.com. I love you guys. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you soon.